Evo 10 market update. So I do the Evo 10s differently than the 8s and 9s because you can actually get a little overwhelmed. There's so many of them. Basically, I divide this up into not 3 categories, but 5, and that is the cheapest Evos, sub $20,000, the nicest Evos, sub 30,000 miles, the middle, which is just everything else, essentially. I do divide up trims, GSR and MR, because again, there's so many, and then the 2015s as their own section because of the market is going to be much more volatile on the 2015s. You can still find some that are under some form of warranty or potentially certified. I also despise the fact that they don't have the 2015s, or I'm sorry, that the 2015s don't have the Recaros, which may seem silly, but if you pull up eBay real quick and look at what used Evo seats go for, it can be quite expensive. I think this is a little bit on the high end considering they're not the leather seats, but it's not too high, to be honest. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's market update. One last thing. Obviously, there are other websites you could search for. These market updates, just like the 8s and the 9s that I do, are just meant to kind of give you an overall view of the market and kind of see what's going on. That way, if you're shopping, you can kind of get my thoughts on some of the cars, if I see any potential outliers that you should stay away from or that maybe you should look into, and just kind of my overall thoughts on them. Alright, so as I mentioned, we're going to go through this a little bit quicker, just because there is so many of them. I want to kind of get some points across, and then that way you guys can kind of go through. Alright, what we've searched for here is we're going for best deal. So we got under 20,000, 2008 to 2014, and then we're just doing GSR. First one is 2008, 110,000 miles. So I already like this one just from a number standpoint. Now let's scan through it real quick. See if there's anything obvious. Really, before we even look at photos, we need to come down and look and see if they say anything about the title. Mechanic Special, Rod Knock. Okay, we're going to move on. This one just has way too many miles, honestly. I mean, when you look at 160,000, 108,000, why would you pay anywhere near that? Now, if you're near this place, I don't know where this is at. Oh, and it's a Minnesota car. Yeah, that's not... You definitely want to have that one really inspected. Alright, 2008, 108,000. New Hampshire. Very little photos. Some minor issues. Clutch doesn't work. Alright, so I obviously wouldn't pay anywhere near this number, but since it's a private seller, if you're near this car, you could probably get this for a really good deal, and if it truly is just the clutch, that's really only like, I don't know, maybe $1,500. So you could get a pretty good deal potentially. Alright. So this might be the first one that we've seen. Worth even looking at. 15.5, New Jersey. Looks to be pretty stock ride height. Stock interior. The badging's been changed, whatever, it's fine. Change my screen here for you guys, I forgot. Wow, it's bright now. That'll wake you up. Okay. They've obviously done some sort of Android touchscreen thing here, if you care about that stuff. I'm not a fan of that, but it might be alright. Got an intake, got upper intercooler piping, and got an exhaust. Other than that, doesn't look too bad. Yeah, I would say it'd be a starting point for sure, and you're under 100,000 miles, so the only thing I don't like is this whole stereo setup, but it might be okay. Don't look at ones without photos. There's no point, I can't really help you with that at all. Private seller, aftermarket wheels. They may or may not have the stock ones. It's got the little wing. I'm not a huge fan of that. I would either go no wing or find the Evo 10 wing. This one looks pretty clean, honestly. The only thing that kind of sucks is the mileage is pretty high. But it's a private seller, so you might be able to get it down some. Also, it does seem to be owned by somebody older. And it's a Florida car, which is nice. This wing may be original, so don't be alarmed by that. They're rare, but you do occasionally see it, so it doesn't mean that they swapped it. $140,000 miles. So the wing's missing on this one. That is not factory. So they've clearly removed it. The question becomes, did they leave holes? It's got the little Duluck type lip spoiler on the back, which I don't mind. That's a personal preference. Just depends if it's a good one or not. Upper piping looks like a dented intake. Yeah, so either that's designed that way, which is kind of weird, or that's really messed up. I would definitely pay special attention to that. It's not an expensive fix, but it does question how well they took care of it. Okay, TPMS, that's the tire pressure monitoring system. This is actually a bigger deal than people realize because they're not cheap to replace. You have to take off all four tires and dismount them. And the sensors themselves, if I remember, are... I think you're going to be in it for like $200 plus. So it's not nothing, and that's annoying. It doesn't go away unless you can like get rid of it with an ECU tune. Now you can clear it every time you drive it, but every time you turn it back off and back on, it comes back. Obviously they swapped out the rotors. Oh, yeah, let's look at the trunk. I don't see any drill holes, so two things. Either A, they had a body shop do it correctly, which if they did, that's awesome. Unless you wanted the wing, at which point that's less awesome. Or they swapped it with a regular Lancer, which is not ideal. People do that as a cheap way out, but you don't have matching VINs anymore, which is kind of annoying. I will say this does look like a carbon wing, so it might be a pretty decent one. I feel like there was something else I saw I wanted to bring up. Maybe? I think it was... Oh, yeah. There we go. So this isn't a big deal. It doesn't mean anything necessarily, but you see how it still has the tire warning stickers? All Evos, at least in the US, had this from 2003 to the end. For some reason, cars that still have this, I don't know, it's not necessarily a sign that the car is better than others, but it's usually a good indicator. So, just FYI. So I don't like the mileage, but other than that, the car overall looked pretty clean. You could talk them down some because of the mileage. Could be worth looking at. 2012, really high mileage, but let's take a look. Looks to be slammed. It's a Northwestern car, so don't love it. Yeah, definitely like slammed down. So you definitely want to check the life of the struts. Go away, Carfax. Thank you. Jeez. So not much to say about this. I mean, it looks really stock. Did they show the engine? Yeah, that's the only thing. They didn't show it. I'd want to see an engine bay pic before, unless you live really close to this, I'd like email them asking for an engine bay pic to see if there's any mods. I'd want to know what's going on with the suspension here. Is this a coilover setup that can be readjusted, or is this just something that's slammed down, at which point the struts are probably going to be needing replaced. Just from pictures alone, I'd give the edge to this one. I like that this is a 2012, mind you, but this gray one looks way cleaner. Alright, so bear in mind, this has been Lightroomed or Photoshopped a little bit, so just keep that in mind. Now, this picture doesn't necessarily look like it is. This one kind of does. What is going on here? Oh, they have an Evo 9 wing on it? I guess that could be personal preference. I don't like it, but to be honest, I think the Evo 9's wing is worth more, so you could probably sell it and get a 10 wing cheaper than what you sell that for. Yeah, I definitely don't like it. It's got an exhaust. Oh. Wow, this person has a lot of taste issues. Yeah. Um, obviously the seats and trim never came in red. I don't know, maybe it'll look better in person. I don't like it. I don't know what's going on with this blow-off valve situation. We've got an intake, we've got upper intercooler piping. I don't know what this blow-off valve is. I've never seen it before. If anybody knows what that is, comment below. I have no idea what blow-off valve that is. Alright, so questionable taste aside, it's a 2008, 100,000 miles, 18 grand. I'm personally probably not interested in it. I don't think I could get past the red interior. Alright, 2008 again, 100,000 miles. Factory wheels that have been painted or dipped or something gold. Got an exhaust. Boost gauge, can't quite tell what brand that is though. Yeah. Okay, Kelly Blue Book is stupid though. The values don't mean anything. Yeah, I mean, I don't love it. It's kind of high price for an '08. It's silver, which, I mean, I guess if you like silver, that's fine. The gold wheels, I don't know. There's nothing exactly obviously wrong with it. It's just not a personal favorite. The price is too high, though, for sure. All right, 2010, 50,000 miles. Okay, got some potential. Let's see. It's a giant paragraph about their dealership. Awesome. Tells me nothing about the car. So, assuming it's a non-wrecked car, definitely a better deal. Really wish they hadn't painted this. That looks awful. Or whatever they did to it. It kind of look like final edition wheels. Definitely what they look like. Got an exhaust. It's got the upgraded nav. I don't know who actually needs that nowadays with cell phones, but it was a pretty expensive option. If anything, you could probably take it out and sell it. I've yet to see an engine bay. Yeah, these definitely look like final edition wheels. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's morning or what. Wow, how many times do I have to click on something before it shows me the photo? Yeah, it definitely look like the final edition wheels. Yeah. So that's kind of nice. I mean, they're still inky wheels and they're just painted black, so I mean, it's not a big deal, but they're nice. I like them better than the normal GSR wheels. And it's a 2010. Honestly, if this car is a clean title, no wrecks, and you're wanting an Evo for under 20 grand, and this might be it, honestly. Yeah, I would definitely say that's one to look at. 2008, 113,000 miles. Okay, so we took 2 photos. Alright, upper and air cooler piping, but stock airbox. That's different. Okay. Usually, if they're going to do one, they would do the other. It's not a big deal, but it's kind of a weird way to modify. such as the navigation unit. So again, it's just a higher cost option. So supposedly it's got a lot of mods. Well, I wish he had more photos. It's a private seller, though. You could message him. The only thing that I don't like about it, I wish it wasn't an '08, personally. Just the value difference between '08 and 2010. That said, from the two photos he's showing, which granted might have a little Lightroom going on or a filter or something, I can't tell. I definitely want to see more photos, but I like buying from private sellers better than dealerships, so I'm sure you can get him down from this number, at which point this would probably be my new front runner. Also like the fact that it's a southern Southwest car versus this one here, which is up in Chicago. Although, obviously half the miles, so, and it's 2010. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I would still have to look at this one first then, unless I can get this one for significantly less. I would definitely call and find out about the title and make sure all the VINs check on this one. 2013, 43,000 miles. Accident, okay. 2010, 46,000 miles. Doesn't say anything about the title. Again, with the Subaru gold wheels. Exhaust. Definitely needs a heavy paint correction, but, you know, that's, I guess, to be expected. Limo tint, no tint. Okay. Center caps are missing. Wow. Dude. Oh my gosh. This is 100% from people not taking care when they change the wheels out. And it's like, did you take it to a shop and they did that and you actually didn't say anything about it? Or maybe you did and they gave you money and you didn't fix it? Or B, you did it yourself? Either way, you just clearly don't care about your car. There's some sort of aftermarket stereo maybe, or something. Well, maybe, I don't know. No, because the battery's in the back, so I don't know what that is. So, I think whomever owned this car did not care for it so well. That said, it's still a 2010 with 46,000 miles on it. So if you could get it for a good deal to where you could fix those little things, and obviously you'd want to inspect it really closely in person, possibly. 2012, 95,000 miles. It's somewhat near me. So these little 3 holes here, that's where they had the front license plate. Ohio mandates that, or they did. They finally got rid of it. So it's annoying if you live in a state that doesn't have it, but it's not because they did anything wrong. Well, technically they did something wrong because I lived in Ohio. I live in Ohio and I don't have front license plates. I hate when people do this too. They show you photos from when clearly they bought the car. It's like, okay, so has it not changed in many years? So we got some upper piping, a lot of dirt and leaves. Not sure what that little thing is. Probably nothing. Oh, alright. Yeah, a few little spots. Yeah, some few spots back here that you'd probably want to get addressed. I mean, truthfully, you're probably going to have this on any northern car, but it's nice that they took the time to actually include the photos. Stock exhaust still. Aftermarket head unit and backup camera. Okay. Curious how they installed that, but hopefully not how Mitsubishi does it. They just stick it on there. I've seen some that I like better than this. That said, it's got some potential. You know, it's a 2012. I would definitely want the price down some. Being a private seller, you may be able to get them down some. 2008. 2008 for 20 grand? No, I don't care how many miles it has. An exhaust, different wheels. Ugly, different wheels, mind you, as well. I don't know what brand that is. I don't know anything about wheels, so I don't know. They might be worth a lot of money. Maybe you can sell them. Looks pretty stock on the inside. Like to see the engine bay. Nothing. Awesome. So it's got an exhaust. That's all we really know about it. The price is obviously way too high. So, I don't know if you actually are. Obviously, if you live near this car, there's not too many cars around, too many Evos around. So, I guess, but nowadays where you can fly, well, it's kind of hard to fly out of there too, I will say. So, I guess that's maybe why they're trying to charge more for it. But regardless, anybody who doesn't live near this, I wouldn't mess my time with it. No, don't hit that button. It always resets it. Let's see. 2008, even more money, even more miles. Okay. And it's got the lip missing. It's got these hideous canards, or however you say it. It does have the e-brake handle though. There you go. The upgraded head unit. It's got the wing painted all black for some reason. So this is clearly a dealership who looks at the numbers and goes, we should go way higher than that on this one. Upper piping, maybe blow-off valve situation, intake. They removed the plastic cover. Not a big deal, just looks different, if that's why you're wondering. And it's Northwestern car. Would not be the first one on my list to check out, that's for sure. And lastly, 2011. Don't see as many of those. Also, don't think we've seen any other blue ones today. Looks all factory on the outside. It may have an exhaust, I couldn't quite tell. It's got an intake. Yeah, it definitely has an exhaust. I mean, $20,000, under 100,000 miles. It's not the best deal we've seen today, but it's not the worst either. So it's a decent starting point if you're near Connecticut. You want to check it out, and you can get them down some, especially if you want blue. I would say it's worth looking more into. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and stop this recording. Alright, so that's all that we're going to do for this video. Got the notes on the screen right now just as a reminder of kind of how I break up the 2010s because there is so many. If you guys have any questions or anything, definitely you can comment below or DM me on Instagram. Other than that, appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.